History teaches us that bridges aren't built from stone and iron alone. Bridges are built from vision, intellect, and the courage of someone willing to defy the rules of the world. But if you stand in the heart of Texas and look at an old bridge spanning the Brazos River, you don't just see an engineering marvel. You see a hidden story, a silent life, and a quiet strength that has withstood the passage of centuries. This bridge, still standing despite floods, wars, and decades of neglect, amazes engineers, confuses historians, and to ordinary people may seem like just another old structure. But hidden within it is a story of injustice and genius, woven together in the 19th century. Imagine Texas in 1849, a time when slavery was legal, and the color of a person's skin determined their life and death. And yet in the midst of this reality, there was a man who, with nothing but his intellect and courage, created a structure that would survive floods, storms, and generations. Today we know his work, though his name was for a long time buried, erased from the history books. Engineers examining this bridge today often speak in hushed tones. They discuss calculations, load distribution, and arch design, and repeatedly say, "This would have been impossible at the time." This bridge was not made of stone and mortar alone. It is proof of a mind that existed far beyond the limits of its era and society, a mind that may have never asked for certificates, degrees, or recognition, but invested a lifetime into creating something that still inspires awe today. Look closely at the structure. The arches are perfectly aligned, the load is evenly distributed, and the foundations are so solid that even century-old floods could not topple it. The way the river's water flows around the bridge channels erosion away from the foundations. This is not just design. It is the result of careful observation and calculation. Someone studied, understood, and risked their life to implement it. And at the time, this sophistication may not have been available even to white engineers. The work was not done by an ordinary laborer. And here lies the central mystery. The true creator of this bridge was a man whose name history long ignored.
Even today, when historians and engineers analyze this bridge, they say its design was revolutionary for the 19th century. Its load calculations and arch symmetry match formulas used in modern engineering. This was not luck. It was the work of a mind capable of observing, reasoning, and creating beyond the limits of its environment. A mind belonging to a man who, in his own time, would not have been considered a freethinker, much less an engineer. The bridge's beauty is not just structural. Stand on the banks of the Brazos River, and you feel that this bridge is more than stone. It is the witness of a man's pain, his dreams, and his silent defiance. Every arch, every curve, every pillar contains a piece of his life. And as the water flows past these pillars, you can see that this design is not only functional but built to endure. It survived floods, it survived storms, and it survived the neglect of decades. For society at the time, such a feat seemed impossible. For a black slave, it seemed unimaginable to create something that even the wealthiest and most educated white men could hardly comprehend. Yet Isaac Brown, the man behind this bridge, achieved exactly that. He did not simply build a bridge, he defied his circumstances with a mind, an observation, and a courage that made the impossible possible. And this bridge is not merely a structure, it is a statement, a testament that genius does not see color, class, or privilege. When we walk across its arches today, we are stepping not on stone alone, but upon the silent dreams of Isaac Brown. In 1849, Texas was a society strictly ruled by hierarchy. Wealthy plantation owners were revered, and their names and achievements were etched into history. Completing a bridge was not just an engineering achievement, it was a political and social statement. For the legislature, it proved progress and connectivity. For the public, it represented pride and success. Yet, often, the credit went to those who barely did the work. In this case, newspapers, public celebrations, and official speeches all gave full credit to Colonel Edmund Pierce, a wealthy plantation owner. Pierce had no engineering training. He had never studied structural design or mathematics. Yet, when the bridge was completed, he stood on the stage, shook hands with the governor, and gave speeches proclaiming, "Through American ingenuity and manifest destiny, we have achieved this marvel." The public applauded, newspapers praised him, and the state legislature rewarded him financially. History books recorded his name as the bridge's creator. But the truth was different. The actual work, the calculations, the structural design, and the planning was done by Isaac Brown, an enslaved black man. Pierce accepted public recognition, but the man who built the bridge, designed its arches, and calculated its load distribution remained invisible. Society at the time never acknowledged black labor as intellectual work. It was seen as mere physical labor. Yet Isaac was quietly solving problems, performing complex calculations, and planning flood-resistant structures. Despite this, Pierce claimed credit. Newspapers ran headlines, "Colonel Pierce completes Texas Bridge, a triumph of American ingenuity." The public, unaware of the hidden genius behind the work, celebrated Pierce. He gained wealth, prestige, and social standing, while the man who created the bridge remained unrecognized. Isaac Brown, however, was not simply a laborer. He designed the arches, calculated stress points, understood the flow of water, and planned the foundation to resist floods. But officially, he was labeled only as a skilled laborer. His sketches and calculations survived in Pierce's private ledgers, hidden from public view, revealing that the true mind behind the bridge was Isaac. The public never saw this truth. Pierce's speeches, stage presence, and wealth created a facade that society accepted. Recognition for Isaac's work would have been dangerous, so he remained silent, working within the chains of slavery but producing work centuries ahead of its time. Modern historians reviewing these records note that the bridge's design would have been impossible without Isaac Brown's intellect. Pierce intentionally obscured Isaac's contributions to benefit socially and financially. This act was legally acceptable for the time but morally unjust. The bridge, for Pierce, was a status symbol. For Isaac, it was proof of talent, intelligence, and courage. Yet society never differentiated between the two. The truth began to emerge gradually. Historians, years later, analyzed ledgers, letters, and eyewitness accounts, uncovering the invisible pattern that Isaac Brown, the enslaved man, had done the genius work. Modern engineers studying the bridge agree that its arches, load distribution, and flood resistance were extraordinary. Even by today's standards, Isaac had achieved what Pierce could not. This official lie teaches a harsh lesson. History is often written by those in power, while true genius may remain hidden. Isaac Brown's work survived in stone and mortar, invisible to the public eye, yet permanently embedded for centuries. Eventually, truth can never be erased. It emerges, piece by piece. Standing by the Brazos River and observing the bridge, one sees only stone and arches, but the real story lies in the mind behind it. This was Isaac Brown, an enslaved black man whose genius, courage, and vision remained invisible for decades. With no formal education or societal support, he quietly created a structure that would stand the test of time. Isaac's mind was naturally analytical. He observed everything: the river's flow, the shape of stones, the angles of arches, and water pressure. From these observations, he mentally calculated patterns, which eventually became the bridge's design, perfectly balancing flood resistance, stability, and aesthetic beauty. His talent went far beyond ordinary labor. On the plantation, while others performed physical work, Isaac secretly sketched, calculated, and tested solutions. Every curve, pillar, and arch reflected his careful reasoning. This intelligence, combined with caution to avoid punishment, allowed him to create a structurally flawless bridge. Modern engineers marvel at Isaac's work. Flood-resistant foundations, load-bearing arches, and perfectly balanced piers all reflect principles of structural optimization long before such concepts were formalized. Isaac achieved this without calculators, software, or formal training. His genius was innate, hidden, and revolutionary. This bridge was also a silent rebellion. In a society that deemed him powerless, Isaac created a structure that would speak louder than words, lasting centuries. Every arch and pillar is a testament to his intellect and courage. Isaac's work was methodical. He studied the river, mapped flood-prone areas, and calculated arch and pillar placement mentally. His sketches later found in Pierce's ledgers revealed precise keystone placements and foundation depths. Isaac solved complex engineering problems using observation and logic, an extraordinary feat for an enslaved man. His genius also included material optimization and foresight. He used stones and timber efficiently, planned for flood resistance, and anticipated long-term durability. The bridge's beauty, symmetry, and structural perfection were all products of his mind. Isaac Brown's legacy is timeless. Though invisible to the society of his era, his intellect, planning, and courage remain embedded in the bridge. Modern observers see not just a structure, but the brilliance and silent rebellion of a man who defied his circumstances. Today, standing at the Brazos River, the bridge is more than stone. It is a testament to engineering genius. Each pillar, arch, and keystone reflects careful planning. Constructed long before modern tools or software, it has withstood centuries of floods, wars, and neglect. Isaac Brown approached engineering not as labor, but as a science. He observed forces, weights, and water flow. Flood patterns were studied, arches and pillars strategically placed, and foundations carefully designed to resist erosion. Every element was calculated for durability. Load-bearing capacity was meticulously planned. Timber and stone weight distributed across arches to withstand stress. Flood management included channels and pier placement to divert water efficiently. Arches curves, keystone angles, and pillar spacing combined structural stability with aesthetic appeal. Material optimization was another hallmark. Stones and timber were chosen and positioned to minimize waste and maximize durability. Foundations resisted river pressure, arches distributed weight, and floodwater management protected the structure. Modern engineers still admire this ingenuity. This bridge is also Isaac's silent rebellion. In a society that saw him as powerless, he created something centuries ahead of its time. Each arch reflects intellect, foresight, and courage. The bridge survived floods and the Civil War, proving the genius of its designer. Isaac applied multivariable thinking, load, water flow, material strength, soil erosion, and traffic weight, all considered simultaneously. The result is a bridge that defied its era, designed to survive centuries, a feat extraordinary for an enslaved man. Today, standing by the Brazos River, the bridge is no longer just stone, it is Isaac Brown's legacy. Centuries of invisibility cannot erase the work of genius. Historians and engineers analyzing private ledgers, sketches, and eyewitness accounts have revealed the truth. Isaac Brown, not Colonel Pierce, was the true creator. This revelation is both technical and moral. An enslaved man, denied education and freedom, designed a bridge that still inspires awe. His intellect, creativity, and courage created something beyond the constraints of his society. The bridge proves genius does not wait for race, status, or privilege. Isaac's work now inspires modern audiences. Each arch, keystone, and pillar reflects courage, intellect, and silent defiance. Engineers and historians studying the bridge realize that Isaac Brown achieved the impossible for his era. Delayed recognition is still recognition. Isaac's contributions can finally be honored. The bridge stands as his immortal proof, a testament that talent, creativity, and courage cannot be erased, no matter how long they remain unrecognized. The bridge, Brazos River, and Isaac Brown's legacy remind us, history often credits the loud and powerful, but genius survives in silence. Talent and determination may be hidden, but truth always emerges. Isaac's work inspires us to remember that even in adversity, human intellect and courage endure. Brazos River Bridge is not just a structure, it is Isaac Brown's immortal signature, a proof that genius transcends recognition, survives centuries, and ultimately shines through.